Hello, beautiful one. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this space. Welcome to our Being the New Human. And I think this is the first time in the history of Being the New Human classes that we are on a Friday. I believe we've always been on a Saturday. So we are being new, yes, in an even additional new way. And so thank you for flowing with the space and for being here with me, whether you're here live or whether you're going to be coming in via the video. I'm grateful to be with each and every one of you. So we've been talking about a really big space in our Being the New Human class. Last week, we had our space of understanding that, hold on just a moment. Let's let a few more coming in here get in. All right, beautiful. Here we go. Good, good, good. So last week we were talking about no more lessons. We were talking about coming from the space of acknowledging the possibility that there are times when it can become easy for some to even cycle healing. You know, we talk about cycles, right? And it can become a space where people are just continuing to look for the next thing to heal, you know? And there's not that there's something wrong with any of these spaces, but they offer an opportunity. Every single space of us offers us an opportunity because it's all us, designed and created specifically to do so. That opportunity of realization of the self through observation and awareness, and then an understanding of shifting our own energy, which when you shift your own energy, you shift your entire life and all the spaces of connection you have. So we talked about the possibility of even healing, expanding your consciousness, being a space in which one can, it can become a cycle. You're never quite, I guess, happy with who you are in the now space of you, and you're looking for that next space to be what makes you happy. So that is not really, in my humble opinion, a space of healing. That is just creating a new addictive pattern cycle under a new name. So some may say, well, hold on a second, that's pretty big. I thought I was healing. Am I in a healing cycle? Is this, you know, not authentic healing? And here's how you know. Are you happy right where you're at? Knowing that every space of you is a continual expansion. Can you find the happiness and the peace and the love that is right within the moment you're in right now? Have that happiness, that joy, that peace, that gratitude. If you are in that space of understanding yourself in that vibration of love now, then you're not in a cycle. A cycle that would be rerunning itself in a manner in which it is not expanding. Because actually we're always kind of cycling something. But when you are coming from the space of, and we talked about this before, you are here, you've arrived, and allowing yourself to really take a good look at your here that you've arrived at, know thyself from the now you, and you can feel into it, and the vibration of love is there. The vibration of gratitude is there. Does it mean everything in the now has to be perfect? No. It means you have to, don't have to, but you would be coming from an understanding, an interpretation, a perceptual vantage point of feeling your now as if it is everything you need it to be, right as it is. No attachment or judgment to having anything have to happen to it in order for you to feel whole. So it's a really big space in a sense, but this is for everyone. It doesn't matter where one is on their journey. Even one who is in a space of just beginning to hear themselves, getting their attention, meaning we talk about how when you navigate being your life, your you, every single human goes through experiences all throughout their journey that are a conveyance of information. Every experience is conveying information. Every experience you have, I have. And the information can be, we're in a state of alignment that is peaceful, and we're in a state of alignment that is love. And the information can be, we're out of alignment with our heart. We're not listening to our soul. We have a space that is seeking our love. And you understand what I'm talking about. But no matter what the experience is conveying, and everyone in this group and in our collective of Acasma and the family that I work with, everyone is in different increments of their journey. No matter what that increment is, no matter what that conversation with yourself is through your external life, if you are functioning from listening to your life, experiencing your life, and you are able to maintain an anchor of peace, no matter what the conversation is, doesn't mean the peace is solid. It can waver a bit. It can have a moment where the conversation gets your attention, meaning you feel triggered in some way. You feel that charge of the energy present in the conversation, the experience you're having. But if you are anchored in peace, your truth, your wholeness, that you're unwavering, you're having an experience, but the experience is not bigger than you. If you are unwavering in that knowing, then you can maintain peace. You can choose to feed that alignment when the other one comes in and that charge shows up. So in that conversation, when you acknowledge, but you no longer align, you are solidifying your response of the conversation, because that's what a conversation is. It's back and forth. You're solidifying your response as peace, love, gratitude. And yes, it does take more focus and effort in the spaces where the conversation is loud or big. But those conversations amplify your anchorship. And that's a perceptual view that is a very powerful understanding to hold. That's what I hold. You don't have to hold or believe anything I'm sharing, but that's how I live. And I see the beauty and the abundance amplifying in my life because of how I have learned to direct my energy. I have learned to control and master my flow. I'm still learning, but what I'm learning, I'm sharing every step of the way. So more people can do it if they choose to, if it feels aligned for you. So this week, I put some bullet points into the promo on Patreon, and I said how to live from the higher you, being your higher self now, creating and living in higher alignments. You are your higher self. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being mindful of if there's a cycle of healing or if there is living from being healed. And I think everyone understands what I'm saying. And in order to live from your higher self, that's the understanding that has to be anchored, that it isn't another cycle of seeking, wanting, lacking, needing, but it is an anchored wholeness that you live from. Now, what happens is your external experiences, your conversations with yourself that you're having constantly with your own thoughts, with your own relationships and experiences, the spaces you have in your lives, they are affected by that shift of you to anchor in deeper into living from your higher self, no longer trying to talk to your higher self or hear your higher self or connect with your higher self, but moving into a space where you understand you are your higher self. You are your higher self in this human now you, in this absolute right on today moment you. You already are it. And the more you lean into that understanding of yourself, you see yourself as that in your mind's eye. You see yourself in that in your imagination, your visualization, your belief. If you see yourself as broken, and there's no judgment here, please, I'm just trying to assist, or weak, or alone, or separated, and you can feel all these things because you can be experiencing a conversation. That's what I'm going to start calling this, because that's what it is. You could be experiencing a conversation with yourself through your outer experiences that are lonely or are lacking or are difficult. But if you keep an alignment of continued flow with those spaces, interacting with them in the way in which you always have, then they're not going to go anywhere. But if you can shift your focus, and it does take your self-mastery, absolutely 100% across the board, but you've already done it in so many ways. I know many of you very, very well. If you implement the mindset and visualize and imagine and come from, you are your higher self. I am my higher self. I can hear me. I'm right here. I'm not trying to communicate with something or someone in a higher dimensional space that knows more than me or understands more than me. I've aligned vibrationally with that space already. And it is me and I am it. You are as well. And living from that belief structure is going to create and anchor it more. Whether you're a person who feels like it's already happened and you're understanding this from a very experiential space of yourself, or whether you're a person who's like, I'm not there yet. If you lean into it, that's what you experience. If you lean into, I am my higher self now. I am present within this now version of me as my higher self. My higher self speaks through my mouth. Then those are the spaces that are going to amplify and run in your life. And when you are in that alignment, when you are in that mindset, you are going to then be drawn to create from, implement from, live from that understanding of yourself, of you. That's a vibrational space that you are directing from. Think of it this way. When you or I or anyone sees themselves as separate from the higher self, below the higher self, not vibrationally high enough to connect with, hear, or be the higher self, it is like as if you are in a like a theater where there's a stage up at the front. My daughter did community theater for years. We had such a lovely time. So there's a stage up at the front, and then there's all the seating, and then the doors in the back, right? So you come in the back doors, you find your seat, up ahead is the stage. So if you're me or anyone are living from feeling separate from their higher self, not enough alignment vibrationally, not strong enough to do this, not in a space in which that feels comfortable or whatever, it is as if you're standing in the very back corner of that theater and you're trying to direct a play, and all the actors are on the stage and you don't have a megaphone or a microphone, and you're in the very back corner of the theater and you're trying to direct the actors and the play. You wrote the play, you know it very well, and you're trying to direct it all from the back corner. But when you lean into visualizing and understanding and believing in yourself as your higher self and your now version, you step out of the back corner into the aisle. Now you have a clear shot to the stage. Vocally, your voice will travel better to the actors in your play that are performing your masterpiece you created. And as you lean into that belief of yourself, and as you lean into trusting yourself, and as you lean into listening to you from the understanding of you are the higher self, you are, it's right there, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here. And as you lean in, you're walking down that aisle and you're getting a little closer to that stage where it is all unfolding. And as you keep leaning in, you hear you better. The actors hear you better. Your directions are received more clearly. The play is implemented according to your lead more precisely. And you move closer and closer as you continue to lean in. And the way in which the play unfolds, the way in which the story goes, is in alignment more and more with the director's direction. The closer the director gets to its own self, its own stage, its own play, its own actors. But the understanding of that continual expansion of you moving closer to that space of you that is unfolding, your life in this now, is how you amplify and continue to expand that space of you. A really big reason why this is all coming forward in this now and in this class is in 2020, I began the Being the New Human classes. I had nothing pre-written. I'd never even used the term new human before in my whole life. But I just knew I was supposed to show up here and those who were ready would find me. And I was supposed to talk about topics that would guide us all to the spaces of our truth. And why this is happening is because, and many of you know this, we are in a space of where all the energy of our individual beings and our collectives as human is shifting energetically, and everything is energy. So as we shift, all the ways we've ever thought about things and done things and looked at ourselves and looked at others, all these spaces shift, they change. If they don't, the energy doesn't change. But it's in movement, whether we're kind of on board or not. And those who aren't on board, it's like getting dragged kind of in a way. And you have a lot of different, and you may know people, you may experience it in your family, your friends, yourselves, I don't know, where there's a lot of emotional upheaval and there's a lot of, there's a big clearing. There's a lot going on in their lives trying to have that conversation with themselves, to get their attention, to lead them in a way of truth and empowerment. And now here we are 2 years later from starting this space. Really, I think I started it in August. And this is a different ball game. You're not, those who are in this space, you're not trying to figure out who you are in a sense and shift your energy. That's already happened. You've been doing that. It's shifted. You've shifted. Now you're implementing the understanding of yourself as higher consciousness and living from it. That's why I say there's no more lessons unless you want to go back and sit in that classroom. Your being, your energy, your understanding is in a new space of itself in which you are now ready to be it. And in the moments in where there may seem to be a conversation or a lesson or something coming in, you're not processing it the way you did before. And you know this. I've spoken to many of you where your process time is much faster. What 2 years ago took you 5 days to get through and release the the emotions that needed to be released, and love the spaces that needed to be loved, and learn the lessons that needed to be learned from the experience, the conversation, the understanding that was coming up. What used to take 4 to 5 days 2 years ago, a year ago, dropped down to 2 days. And now this year, you guys are telling me you're doing it in hours. You're having something come into the understanding, and within an hour or so, and some of you, it's minutes. Some of you, it's minutes. But that's the progression of your energy. That's the incremental shift of your being. And where you are headed, what is happening to you, what is going on with the human, is the body, the physical body of the human is adapting to the energy shift within the consciousness. And the energy shift within the consciousness is because it is the higher self now inhabiting the human body, because the now you took the journey you took and expanded your self-mastery and your understanding of who you are and opened yourself up to that space of you. That's why you're done with all this other space, because you did it well and you figured out where your you are here is now. And now I am just here to gently remind you to live from that now new you are here moment and space of you. You are very powerful. You have the ability to see with your inner knowing. You have the ability to see spaces in the physical world with your inner knowing in the now, meaning you can close your physical eyes and you can go anywhere you want with your inner knowing. And all of this is happening and opening up. And this class really isn't about that, but maybe it will turn into that. I don't know. But humans have gifts, they have abilities that are not supernatural. They're just natural, but no one's ever given them focus and fed them. So they've never been on, the forefront prior. But this is what's happening to you now, and or is going to. And it's all glorious. You already are doing a lot of this, but it's going to expand. So communications with your mind, those closest to you that are in this same wavelength as you've already experienced this with. You finish each other's sentences, you message each other the answer to the question before the message of the question even comes. I do this with my daughter a lot. I'll send her a text and I'll say, blah, blah, blah. And she'll say, I was just going to ask you that. And we can travel. We can travel in our light bodies. Yes, and when you are lay down for meditation or sit down, or you do it doesn't even have to really be meditation. We've used that word for so long, but it can just be the intent to travel in your light body. You have the ability to do that. You have the ability to heal your body, yourself. You have the ability to heal others. These are all connected with your higher self inhabiting your now form. These are all connected with you living from that space of you. Now, here's the thing, is some may say, well, how? Tell me how so I can do it. And, we can go down that path together as well. But the biggest thing I could share, first and foremost, is know thyself. Believe in who you are in this now moment as this space of you. Rewatch this video. Contemplate what I'm laid before you about being your higher self. What does that look like to you? What does it look like? Are you still looking at you and your higher self from a vantage point of separation or, a past space of you? Or are you looking at you and the now version of you and acknowledging, seeing the higher self within you? Are the eyes that look at you in the mirror and reflect, you see your own reflection? Are they the eyes of your now version through your higher self. It's cool. It's wonderful to even contemplate, and then try it. Go look in the mirror and ask yourself, who's looking at you? An old version of you, a now version of you, a now version of you with the higher self inside? Or is the mentality and the mindset and the understanding still seeing the higher self outside and above or away and somehow? Does everyone function in this space? No. Will they? Yes, most likely. All are ever expanding. Why would you want to understand this? What use does this do for you? It's happening to you no matter what. You're evolving, you're expanding, you're ascending, you're shifting, you're changing. And if you know that, if you have that understanding and you lean in with trust and allowance and love and joy and gratitude, and you know that every step of the way you're surrounded by beings of light that have already done what you're doing. Yes, that's how it works. All of you and me, we all have beautiful teams of light with us on our whole journey. And as you lean into this understanding of them being with you, again, it expands. And as you lean into this understanding of them being with you, you can connect more, hear more, understand more, because you're feeding energy to the connection of that alignment by thinking about it. Imagine it. I do it all the time. Don't do it if you don't want a life like me. If you do not want a life like me, and you see my life on social media, and I share a lot in my classes, and if you don't want beings of light around you, and you don't want love and happiness and bliss, there are some things that are very interesting, yes, but I love them. They're magnificent to me. And if that is a draw to you, because I think it is, I think that's why you're here in this space, your heart feels an alignment with my energy, your heart feels an alignment with what I'm speaking, because it is a space that is also in you, as you. We most likely all stood together in another space prior to this one, different intervals, and said, I'll see you there. I'll see you there. My heart knows that, yes? And there's a purpose, because as you raise your understanding of you as your higher self and your now version, and you live a life of bliss and beauty and gratitude and love and peace, you are becoming that form more and more and more by leaning into it, by being it, by implementing it. That's how you be anything. You have to be it. People say, how do I be that? How do I activate that? You have to do it. You have to be active in that space of you in order for that space to be. But as you do that in your individual spaces, and me in my individual space, we amplify the teams of light that are with us, because we are creating a bridge in which they can be more present, because we're more present with them, because we're more present with our spaces of ourselves and our knowing of that alignment. It's all energy, it's all vibration. And as we do it in the individual, we are holding that alignment line within our collective of humanity. And so can you imagine, can you please right now, I'm not joking, it's not a term that I'm using to try to get you to just, I really would like you to imagine every human on the planet and see them as light in human bodies. And some of them, the light may be very, very faint. Maybe it's not even viewable, because they're very separated out from their understanding of themselves, of their connection as source in human form. And some, the light may be more than the body, and you just see the light and everything in between. But as you imagine that for a moment, all over the planet, all the humans, the animals do it too, but let's just do the humans right now. The ones that are lit up, those are you, people like you, like me. And that light amplifies out and touches every single human in the collective. Did you sign on for it? Yeah, you actually did. When you joined this class, did you know that? I don't know. You may have just came to have a better individual life, and that's fine, because that's what I'm saying. That's how it starts. So you envision this and you see these beings, these humans all over the planet, and you see them as their different variations and increments of vibrational energy. And you can have connotations you can add to this via your belief process. So you can see denser, darker, emptier spaces as humans who do things that are very selfish or manipulative or even evil, if that's the belief structure you hold. And then you can see the ones that are bright and all lit up, you know, anchored in their higher self, living as a divine bridge of light for the collective. You could see them as angels, higher star ones, guides, light beings. But what I'd like you to do is also allow yourself to understand that you, your version, your alignment amplifies and blesses all directions. So it's not like the light, the ones that are more lit up are all, you know, in that space together, separate from, but it is inevitable in a collective, and we are a collective in humanity. You may be in another collective, in another version of you, but in this space right now, we are a collective of humans. And your light goes out into the collective wave that is humanity, and it blesses and amplifies accordingly in all directions. You matter so much. You are so valuable. You are so important. You are so rare. You are so precious. You are so powerful. Many of you came in that find this work. Many of you came in and you are, some of you are warriors of light. You are like massive, angelic warriors of light. Some of you hold more of a star one connotation, and you are very wise, very powerful, alchemizers of energy. And you signed on to come in and remember yourself. And you signed on to come in and expand yourself, because the next space you're going, most likely, will be another step of you, because you're eternal. And you may choose to maintain that format of you as the warrior or the star one or whatever you are, before you take on another soul experience in a life like this. But you did this one for yourself and for an ascension process of a species. And if you're religious, you'll be hearing yourself as you're here for the end times. If you're religious, you're going to hear it that way. You're here for the end times. You're here for the second coming. And if you're not religious, or maybe you understand those terms, but you don't hold them as your truth and your belief structure, you're here for the shift. You're here for the ascension. And it is a second coming, but it's coming, for those who are not under a religious connotation, it is coming through all of us that are in this alignment with who we are as source in human form, assisting a species. So when you decide to imagine you are here, and when you decide to lean in and trust it and live from it, you are opening the door for yourself to be everything you came to be in the individual format of your soul understanding of this lifetime. and everything beyond that as well. The way in which the human has processed itself in its mind of understanding itself has been a way in which it has repeated generationally, and you all can see this. No one, I think, would disagree with this understanding. It has repeated these cycles generationally of conversations with itself that have not been heard. That's a very nice way of saying addictive behaviors and very big, dense spaces that have happened. But you are not living in that space. And you know this, and you have broken that cycle for your family. You have broken it for your lineage. You've broken it for your ancestors. And then it has broken within the collective energetic wave consciousness alignment. And when you envision that globe and all those humans lit up in different degrees, and then you see the light coming out of you, because it's inevitable, it comes out no matter what. If you're on, baby, and you're flowing, and it's flowing out. And any who are in a receptive increment of vibration that come in contact with your flow have the opportunity to sync up and to have that awareness energetically for themselves as well, just by you being you. That means it's in your words, your higher self is speaking. It's in the way you hear others, because the way you hear them is going to affect how you respond to them. It's a vantage point, even through the ear, of energetic understanding. Listen with your higher self. Speak with your higher self. Look with your higher self. Here's a really good tool. We're at the end here. Let me give you a tool. Some people might say this is like, could be in need of a psychiatric care, this comment. But I promise you it works, all right? I promise you it works, and it's not necessarily crazy in any way. Maybe that's why they make it out like that, so we won't do it, but I've been doing it for years, and it's so helpful. I've mentioned it before to you. When you have a moment and you think, I don't think that was my higher self speaking. I don't think that was my higher self listening. I don't think I looked at that from my higher self. I must have had a moment where I separated myself out. Talk to yourself about it. Think to yourself. You don't have to speak out loud if you don't want to. I do sometimes. But you can think to yourself, who was perceiving that? I say that to myself. I say, who was perceiving that? Who was interpreting that moment? Who responded just then? I'm asking myself, what part of me responded? What part of me was the one interpreting and perceiving? If I feel like there's something that's not necessarily a flow state happening, right? Some kind of bump, wobble, whatever you want to call it. That's a conversation with ourselves. That's you're not crazy. You don't have split personalities or whatever. I mean, I haven't met all of you individually, so I'm not trying to offer any type of diagnosis here. If you have a psychiatrist or a therapist, please keep them. That's not who I am or what I offer. But for those of you who understand what I mean from this space of understanding yourself, talk to yourself in your understanding in your mind and think, Who just responded? Or who's feeling offended? I'm pretty sure my higher self doesn't get offended. So then who's perceiving this? Do you understand what I'm saying? And also allowing yourself then in the moment to make that conscious choice of redirecting to live from the higher self. If that's what you want. If you don't want to, then go over there and pick up your tennis racket and have a game. We talked about that last week, right? But all of this glorious you is unfolding. Your powers are right there. They're not coming in from some distant space. They're right here already. Your abilities, your gifts, your inner knowings. You already are all of it. You're just learning to be that space of you. And the only way you learn to be it is by being it. So don't get upset with yourself if when you are learning to be it, your foot slips off the pedal now and then. Or you need to put a foot down, like when you're riding a bike, you know, and you take the training wheels off. You have to put that foot down now and then. We've used that analogy or that understanding before because, you know, then eventually what are you doing? Once you keep riding your bike every day, eventually you're not even holding on to the handlebars anymore. Remember we talked about that? You're sitting back like this. I remember when I could do that, you know. I had a Huffy, I think it was a Huffy bike. I don't know. It had a big fat seat. It was pink. Oh, I loved that bike. I had tassels on my handlebars and everything. And then I graduated to a 10-speed. I don't even want a 10-speed ever again. That seat goes up your butt and that wheels are so tiny and thin. I liked the big fat seat with the big fat wheels. But anyways, you know, when I had the 10-speed, by then I was really skilled, right? They had cool handlebars, you know, they wrapped around and down, you know. And I used to sit back, cross my arms because I could ride that bike so good, you know. But it was because I rode the bike every single day. And I tried new things, you know. I tried riding faster. I tried letting go of the handlebars a little, holding with one hand. So you get very good at whatever you choose to get good at. That should be on a, you know, a cup or something, right? You get very good at whatever you choose to be good at by implementing, by being that space. So take all of this. It was a little bit of everything, I know. I tried to keep pulling it back into a space of connectivity of it all, but you're very powerful. You're very powerful. You are a divine being of light in a human format. You are here for your own individual well-being and inevitably for the well-being of the whole. You have gifts, you have abilities. Most humans would see them as superpowers or supernatural. And that's all right. Let's let it be that way for a little while. Won't it be fun? Won't it be fun? And then they'll all activate and they'll all eventually be in a space where they'll realize they have those as well. We all walk together, hand in hand. And we're all headed to the same space. All right, holy ones, thank you for coming in on a Friday and being here. I'm so grateful. Video will be up within 24 on Patreon. You can revisit it again if you feel to. Some of you I will see in about an hour and 15 minutes in a goddess course. And some of you, I hope all of you, I will see tomorrow at our ACASMA grid once a month, last Saturday of every month, 10 a.m. Eastern time. If you're not already a member of the grid, an automatic email already went out for this month's grid. So if you're not already a member and you want to be there, you need to email me directly and let me know, and I'll make sure you get the Zoom link. But we have a fantastic time together, and we move mountains, we shift energy, and we get to be our higher selves in a very experiential way. So if you want a great way to implement being your higher self, come to the ACASMA grid and come and share your higher self with the world. Yes? All right, holy ones. Thank you again. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for that. And I love you all unendingly. Blessings upon you, holy ones. Blessings.